where the mist still lies low, comes a whisper, a rustle, a secret they know. Little wings of wonder across the soft air, carrying old tales beyond all compare. Oh, little wings of wonder, birds of Celtic magic right, soaring over Erin, bathed in morning light through the ancient stones, and the hawthorn's soft bloom, chasing shadows, dispelling the gloom. The old woman by the hearth, her eyes like the sea, she tells of the raven and what it can be. A message from far lands, or a soul taking flight across the deep valleys and into the night. Oh, little wings of wonder, birds of Celtic magic right, soaring over Erin, bathed in morning light through the ancient stones, and the hawthorn's soft bloom, chasing shadows, dispelling the gloom. Oh, little wings of wonder, birds of Celtic magic bright, soaring over Erin, bathed in morning light through the ancient stones, and the hawthorn's soft bloom, chasing shadows, dispelling the gloom.
Hello and welcome. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of Ireland's birds. You know, when you picture Ireland, you think of rolling green hills, dramatic coastlines. It really does seem like a place that's just tailor-made for birds. But here's the thing. What if I told you that some of the most common birds you'd see just across the water in Britain or Europe are completely missing from Ireland? Yeah, it's a real puzzle, and it's one we're going to solve together today.
It is a genuine head-scratcher, isn't it? I mean, you could be standing on the coast of Wales and spot a woodpecker drumming on a tree, but then you cross the Irish Sea and nothing. They're just not there. Same goes for the tawny owl. You know, that classic hooting sound you hear in British woodlands? So what happened? Why did these birds and a whole bunch of others just never make it to the Emerald Isle? Well, the answer tells us so much about the island's incredible history and geography.
So we're calling this Ireland's avian paradox. And it's a story that goes back thousands and thousands of years. It's all about ice and water, about being cut off from the rest of the world and the opportunities that brings. It's what explains why Ireland's skies are so full of life, but also, in some really surprising ways, a little bit empty. Now, at first glance, 450 species sounds like a pretty impressive number, and it is. But here's the catch. That number includes every bird that's ever been recorded in Ireland. We're talking about the rare, lost wanderers that get blown off course during a storm. If you narrow it down to the birds that actually call Ireland home, the ones that build nests and raise their young there, that number drops to around 135. And that big difference right there, that's where the story really gets interesting. Okay, this slide really hits home on the paradox we're talking about. On one hand, you've got your classic Irish birds, the ones you'll see in practically every garden, like the charming robin and the tiny little wren. But then, look at this other list, the birds that are totally MIA. No tawny owls hooting at night, no nuthatches scurrying up tree trunks, and absolutely no woodpeckers drumming away in the woods. It's kind of like throwing a huge party where some of the most popular guests just never showed up. So, the main culprit, the big reason for all of this, goes way back to the end of the last ice age. As all that ice started to retreat, Ireland was actually connected to Britain by a land bridge. But as the glaciers melted, sea levels shot up, and that land bridge just disappeared. This created a massive watery barrier that a lot of birds, especially woodland species that aren't built for long-distance flights, simply couldn't cross. They were basically stuck on the other side. leaving Ireland with a much smaller pool of bird colonists. And even if some of those woodland birds had managed to make that tricky journey, they would have found a very different world waiting for them. Just look at this chart. Ireland has way less forest cover than the rest of Europe. We're talking 11% compared to a European average over 30%. So for birds like woodpeckers and nuthatches that absolutely depend on mature forests for food and nests, the habitat they need just isn't there. It's a real double whammy, a really tough journey followed by a not-so-welcoming destination. So Ireland might be missing a few familiar faces, but wow, the birds that are there more than make up for it with this incredible year-round spectacle of comings and goings. The changing seasons bring this constantly shifting cast of characters to the Irish stage, from the tiniest warblers to absolutely majestic swans. So let's take a look at what a year in the life of Ireland's birds is really like. The Irish birding year is just this beautiful symphony of sound and movement. It really kicks off in spring with the cheerful, repetitive song of the chiffchaff, this tiny little warbler that's just flown all the way from Africa. Then summer hits, and it's pure energy, especially on the coastal cliffs, which just come alive with breeding seabirds like puffins. And then, as the days get shorter, thousands of Whooper Swans arriving from Iceland let you know for sure that winter is on its way. But of course, not all of Ireland's birds are these globe-trotting jet-setters. You've got the year-round residents, and they are the absolute backbone of the country's bird life. There's the plucky little robin, a familiar friend in any garden. The wren, a teeny tiny bird with a voice that is surprisingly, unbelievably powerful. And the hooded crow, this really handsome bird in a two-tone coat that you see instead of the all-black carrion crow that's common in Britain. And then you have the true world travelers. The swallows that you see swooping through the Irish summer, they've just finished an absolutely incredible journey all the way from southern Africa. And the magnificent Whooper Swans that spend their winters in Ireland's wetlands, they've flown in from their breeding grounds way up in Iceland. These birds are just phenomenal endurance athletes, and seeing them arrive is always a real cause for celebration. So where do you actually find all these amazing birds? Well, while Ireland might be a bit short on forests, it is incredibly rich in other habitats, from these wild, windswept bogs to its spectacular coastline. Each one of these landscapes is home to its own unique community of birds. So let's take a quick tour of some of Ireland's most important bird habitats. This chart gives you a really good sense of the sheer variety of habitats you can find in Ireland. The bogs are a really special feature of the Irish landscape, and they're home to some of the country's most iconic birds. Then you've got farmland, which covers a huge part of the country and is super important for species like finches and buntings. And of course, the coastline, with its cliffs, its estuaries, its sandy beaches. It's basically a magnet for seabirds and waders. The bogs of Ireland are, well, they're a truly special place. They are these wild, open landscapes that feel like they haven't changed in centuries. And they're home to some of the country's most spectacular birds. The eerie, bubbling call of the curlew is pretty much the soundtrack of the bogs. And if you ever get to see the sky-dancing aerial display of a male hen harrier, well, that's a sight you will never, ever forget. The Irish coast in summer is a full-on sensory overload, in the best possible way. The air is just thick with the sound of thousands upon thousands of seabirds, the smell of salt and guano, and the sight of this constant stream of birds flying to and from their nests. On islands like the Skelligs, literally every single square inch of cliff face is occupied by a gannet, a puffin, or a guillemot. It's a wildlife spectacle on a truly epic scale. With all this natural drama, it's absolutely no surprise that birds have a really special place in Irish culture. They're not just part of the landscape, they are woven into the very story of Ireland. In ancient myths and folklore, birds are often seen as messengers from the other world, or as these powerful symbols of wisdom. This deep connection is still alive today, and it's one of the things that makes birdwatching in Ireland so incredibly special. A perfect example of this is the tiny run. In Irish, and you'll have to forgive my pronunciation here, it's called the draolin. This is thought to be related to the word droi, which means druid. Now, the Druids were the priests and scholars of ancient Celtic society, and they were believed to have this incredible connection to the natural world. So the fact that the wren's name is linked to the Druids tells you just how important this little bird was to the ancient Irish. There's this wonderful old story that explains how the tiny wren became the king of all birds. The birds decided they'd settle the matter with a flying contest. Whoever could fly the highest would be crowned king. while the eagle, with its powerful wings, soared higher than everyone else. But just as it was about to declare victory, the cunning little wren, which had been hiding in the eagle's feathers the whole time, just flew out and fluttered up just a tiny bit higher. And so the wren became king, not through strength, but through pure cleverness. The Irish language is just full of these wonderfully descriptive names for birds. The barn owl is the Screecho Gaeilge, which means the screecher of the graveyard, a name that perfectly captures its eerie call. The raven is the Fiachdubh, or black raven, a bird that was associated with the Morrigan, the ancient Irish goddess of war. And the Whooper Swan is the Ulla Glorach, the musical swan, referring to its beautiful, bugle-like call. These names just show how closely the ancient Irish were observing the natural world around them. So hopefully you're feeling a little inspired to get out there and discover some of Ireland's amazing birds for yourself. The good news is, you absolutely do not need to be an expert to get started. With just a few simple tools and a little bit of patience, you can open up this whole new world of wildlife. Here is how you can begin your own bird watching journey. You really don't need a lot of fancy gear to start bird watching. The two most important things are a good field guide and a decent pair of binoculars. The Collins Bird Guide is basically the Bible for bird watchers in Britain and Ireland. It's worth every single penny. And a pair of 8x42 or 10x42 binoculars will bring the birds right up close and personal, letting you see details you'd never catch with the naked eye. As you get more into birdwatching, it's so important to remember that you're a guest in the bird's world. The golden rule is to always, always put the bird's welfare first. That means keeping a respectful distance, being really careful not to disturb nesting birds, and sticking to marked trails. The whole goal is to enjoy the birds without causing them any stress or harm. So the next time you're in Ireland, just take a moment to look up and listen. The birds you see are so much more than just a pretty sight. They're a living, breathing connection to the island's deep past, a reminder of the incredible forces that have shaped this unique landscape. And who knows, what stories might they have to tell you?